Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We are going to start in the next few minutes. We're just waiting for everyone to log in. I see there's people coming in. So just give us a few minutes and then we'll wait for everyone to join in, then we will get started. Okay, so you've got quite a few people that have already joined. I think what we will do, because the session is recorded, if anyone has missed the beginning, we will just allow them to view it. But I think just for the sake of everyone that has already joined early, let's get going. So good evening, everyone. My name is Al Andrews. I will be your host this evening. Thank you so much for taking your time to be with us this evening. I know that a lot of people are taking family time and you've got an agenda and you want to learn and you want to gain understanding, and we really appreciate you making the time to do so. I'm really excited about tonight. We've got an amazing lineup of speakers who's just going to share their expertise. And as you've seen with the flyers going around, tonight is all about the startup journey. I wanted to just create this platform to help aspiring entrepreneurs and those who've just started, like myself, on this journey, because it can be tough. It can be a tough one if you don't have the necessary resources or the guidance to help you along that journey. So I've asked these amazing people to just join us this evening and share their expertise. And I know that they're going to deliver with excellence, and it's going to be an amazing session. And someone is going to walk away with the knowledge and just the inspiration to get going. And, you know, whether you're in the process of starting up or thinking about it or just seeing what this is all about, I know you're going to leave the session blessed. Our first speaker this evening is Eugene Berta. He will be speaking I actually want to just open up his profile so I can correctly introduce him and read what his bio is. It's so long, I actually had to shorten it because he's got so much going on. To just quickly cut it short. So yes, here we go. Eugene Berta is a renowned commercial attorney, business leader, and leader of the Patriotic Alliance. He's the managing director at Erasmus Botha Inc. and head of enterprise risk management at Novate Risk. Legal and risk, according to Eugene, go hand in hand, and for over 10 years, Eugene has been working as a legal advisor on various transactions and disputes. From experience, he has learned that effective enterprise risk management can help entrepreneurs forecast where hidden risks are and increase profits by reducing risk. Eugene will be speaking on the perseverance mindset of an entrepreneur, the importance of risk management, drafting your business plan, and how to obtain funding for a startup. I came across a video of Eugene when I was on Facebook not too long ago, and I was really blown away by what he was saying, especially just the perseverance of an entrepreneur. You know, so often we start the journey and we want to give up because you heard your first no, but you need to keep going. But I'm not going to take away from him. You'll get into that. But welcome, Eugene. Thank you so much for being here this evening. We're looking forward to it. We're excited to learn. Just some house rules quickly for the team, for everybody that's joining this evening. If you have any questions at any time for Eugene, please pop it in the Q&A box. You'll see it when you log in. It's right at the bottom. It says Q&A. You can just pop a question and you will be able to respond to you immediately if there's something you'd like to know. Over to you, Eugene.
Thank you, Isel. Thank you so much to you and your team. This has been a very professional environment. I got all the reminders and I'm really chuffed to be part of this group, and I hope you just gain in lots of followers because this is a fantastic platform and you've done a really, really good job here. So my name is Eugene Berta. Yes, I started my journey as an entrepreneur in 2008. I'm an attorney, so I left the corporate law and I went and started my own practice, and very quickly realized that the joke or the legend about entrepreneurship being a roller coaster ride isn't such a joke. It's the truth. And I opened my eyes to the reality that when you start your own business, whether you're in a professional services business or whether you're supplying soap bars to people, it has its ups and it has its downs. And I was fascinated by this. I just wanted to know more about this journey of an entrepreneur and perhaps how to smooth it out a little bit, because I know I read the statistics. SMEs are the backbone of the economy. SMEs create the most jobs in the economy, but they're also the most likely to fail. There was a statistic that 80% of SMEs fail. So that's a scary statistic for the backbone of the economy to have, and perhaps indicates why we have such high jobless rates in South Africa. So I pursued this journey, and in doing that around 2011, I read, for my sins, I read King Code 2. King Code is the code of good governance in South Africa that Nelson Mandela commissioned Professor Judge Mervyn King to prepare with a group of people, and the King Code is basically the guide on good governance, how you're supposed to run a big corporate and run a business in line with good governance principles nationally and on an international basis. And the reason I'm mentioning this is because, first of all, it was a long read, and reading it cover to cover at that point in time was quite an endurance thing to do. But there was one quote in there that I'll never forget and has really shaped my journey over the last 10 years, since 2011. And I'm just going to quote it off the top of my head. I stand to be corrected if I get it wrong. But in essence, it says, enterprise, entrepreneurship, is the undertaking of risk for reward. And the size of the reward is determined by how you manage the risk. And I think that's where my journey began, with understanding the role of risk in entrepreneurship. Simultaneously, in the path of starting my own law firm and working with different clients and having good times where the business was really doing well and we were flourishing, and then going into a period where we would go backwards, and it just constantly felt like, you take one step forward and two steps back, and then three steps forward and a step back, and it's frustrating. And I have this deep passion to work with SMEs. And in the early phase of my business, I was trying to work with incubation hubs. I was trying to work with the big banks, because they all have these products with SMEs. And I just thought, if I could give more SMEs access to the knowledge that I built up as a commercial attorney, it could strengthen them and it could help them just smooth that path. And in that process, I also had to face a lot of rejection. And there's a psychology study that I read that says rejection is akin to physical pain. And I can tell you, in the early part of my career, it felt like I was in a boxing fight with Mike Tyson every day. So, you have to develop a mentality. You have to develop a winner's mentality. And what I mean by that is you have to have a self-belief. You have to just have confidence that what you can bring to the world is necessary, and that people just need to see that and understand that. And you've got to wake up every morning and say, thank God I'm here. Thank God I've got the opportunity, and just keep trying to get your product, to get your solution out into the target market, into the audience that you've identified. So yeah, 100% correct, Azelle. I believe perseverance is the key ingredient in terms of achieving success. And you can see it with so many great and wonderful entrepreneurs. Bill Gates is famous for saying that he built his business plan, he wrote his business plan, he took it to 3,500 people, and about 3,400 said no, and he just worked with the other 100, and the rest is history. Microsoft is Microsoft. And that speaks to that perseverance mindset. I think it's important that you understand that when preparing a business plan, you're not going to get it 100% right. There are things that you don't know that you don't know. There are things you don't know that you don't, or that you do know you don't know, and there are things that you don't know you don't know. So when you prepare your business plan, when you prepare your strategy, when you put your concept out into the world, you've got to speak to people, and you've got to be thick-skinned. You've got to get out and you've got to interact with people. You've got to get feedback. Your business plan or your strategy has got to be alive. It's got to be adaptable. There's a famous cliche in business. They always say adapt or die. And it's so true, because if you have this idea of what you want to bring to the world and the solution that you have to listen to people who maybe have been there before, tried it, have learned some difficult lessons, and they want to share with you what those lessons are. So be open to that. So the first one is the perseverance, and the second one is having an open and adaptable mindset. Be willing to learn from other people. You know what you want to do in the world. That's your goal. And that goal is your guiding light, and you're gonna pursue that. But along the way, you're gonna have to pick up, and there's gonna be obstacles. You're gonna have to figure out how to get around those obstacles. And you need a particular mindset to do that. And I think a lot of people, one of the big reasons that 80% of SMMEs fail within the first 3 years is because people tend to give up. They tend to say, listen, it's much easier to go back to a corporate job. And it's perhaps also just maybe having the incorrect expectation. I think entrepreneurship, people loosely speak about the fact that it's a roller coaster ride, but what I like to tell people is entrepreneurship is a battleground. It's not a playground. It's not a place that you go and play and have fun. It's a battleground. And that's why your purpose has to be very strong. The reason why you're doing what you're doing has to drive you. You have to wake up in the morning, and you're going to feel like you've gone 10 rounds with Mike Tyson, but you just got to get up and keep going. That perseverance mindset is what determines the success of your business. There's other elements, obviously, what you read on a day-to-day basis. There's a famous psychological study that said what you read today determines who you are in 5 years' time. Your circle of friends. They always say if you hang out with 5 millionaires, you will become the 6th. So those are things that are influential, but obviously your mindset. If you have a mindset where you come across adversity and you give up, entrepreneurship's not for you. You have to have a thick skin. You have to have that perseverance attitude. Touching on the obstacles, I very quickly realized I was obsessed with governance at first, and I very quickly realized that risk is actually the secret sauce when it comes to business. Because entrepreneurship is such a roller coaster ride. You can see big corporates, they pay a lot of money to consultants, they pay a lot of money to risk managers, they've got teams of risk managers, they've got teams of lawyers, and what these people are being paid to do is to smooth that path, to prevent the company from doing the roller coaster ride. And that's why your top 100 JSE companies are valued the way they are, because they manage risk extremely well. They forecast it, they see it coming, they prepare, they adjust, they pivot, and they deal with it so that they can make sure that they can deliver the results that they've grown accustomed to. So I've then begun to really just invest in this idea of risk management, and from that, Novate Risk was born. And it's really just back to my purpose about I want to equip SMEs with access to the kind of knowledge that these big corporates have. I used to do commercial law and risk advisory services to big corporates, and they would pay an enormous amount of money, but I realized, they're not the ones falling over. It's the SMME that needs access to this information, to this knowledge. So risk management, it's very complicated, but it's also really simple. There's an analysis section, and there's a risk measuring, and you can determine the scale and the size of the risk and your risk appetite. But at the end of the day, it's really about sitting down and thinking about your business and understanding strategically what are the risks to your business. Now, I'll give you a simple example. Marketing always comes up in a business plan. Now, the reason marketing is in the business plan is because if you don't market, you risk not selling any goods. So do you see how risk and that marketing element are connected? So when you write your business plan, all the business plans is a risk register. It's a list of all the risks that are faced by your business. Do you have a sound financial plan? Do you understand your financial model? And when you write your business plan, it's about addressing those risks. So when there's a marketing section, it's about understanding that the risks inherent in marketing, there's so many risks and risk environments in your business. So marketing is just an example, but it's the same thing with employees, with your suppliers, with your clients. Every relationship you have has risk. Now you have to take that risk. Remember the King Code quote, you have to take the risk to receive the reward. And the bigger the risk you take, the bigger the reward. But it's important how you manage that risk. So now you've got to think about when you're drafting your business plan, you've got to think, I call it the risk-based strategy. You've got to think about these risks that are having this force on your business, that are throwing obstacles at you. And you've got to strategize a plan for dealing with those things. So a lot of the risks might not be real right now. They might be real only when you get to, for instance, 10 employees, but you've got to still have a plan for that, because the The reason entrepreneurs do this is because they get to 10 employees and then they realize, oh, there's a risk I've never looked at. I didn't see this coming. Oh dear, I'm losing money. Wait, okay, I know how to manage the risk. Then they go back up again. Then they get to the next risk. They haven't planned for it. Business goes down. So we want to try and get that growth curve at least to plateau for a period and then go up. You don't want that drop. You know, as fun as it is on a roller coaster, it's no fun in business, trust me. So risk looks at all environments, and your employee relationships are an environment of risk. You've got compliance issues there. You've got your leadership issues. I believe Doc is going to speak about leadership issues just now. It's going to be, you've got to motivate and inspire people. You've got to have engaged employees. There's a whole environment there that if you don't pay attention to, the risk is going to materialize that you have a team of people who aren't working hard and are just taking a salary, and you're going to be the one who loses money. So having that risk mentality and understanding that when you look at a business plan, all those areas that you're completing is asking you the question, have you thought about marketing risk? Have you thought about distribution risk? Have you thought about supply chain risk? Have you thought about client risk? What if the client don't pay? What if the clients want lower prices? How do you manage that? Have you thought about your financial risks? Do you have your correct compliance in place? Attorneys, for instance, we have to be FICA compliant. If I'm not FICA compliant, then I could be fined, and that could cost me a lot of money. So those are all the little risk elements that we think about. Now, why is that important to put into a business plan? I've seen people suggest that nobody needs a business plan. It's important because if you require funding, right? And the idea behind capital is that you need a capital investment in order to make more money. So if you want funding, if you want access to capital, the people with capital don't want to take crazy risks. They worked very hard for their money. So they're sitting there with, say, the R1 million. If you had to come to me and say, Eugene, I want R1 million. I've got this business idea and I want to roll it out. My most important question is, do you understand risk? Have you looked at the risks in your business? Do you have a management plan? Because I want my money back with more money. And that's the important thing to understand about capital. Capital wants to grow. Capital wants to acquire more capital. So if I'm going to give you R1 million, I want to know that after 5 years, I'm going to get my R1 million back with 30% growth, which is more than I'm going to get in a bank. Then I'm willing to invest in you. The second thing is, you can tell me I'm going to get you a 30% return, but how do I know you're going to get me a 30% return? Well, that's where the business plan comes in. Now, if your business plan is risk-based and you're communicating with your investor that you understand risks and you've put in place certain measures to mitigate those risks, to reduce those risks, then I will have more comfort as an investor. And that's the purpose behind a business plan. Unfortunately, they've become very cumbersome with marketing lingo. You can do a very effective and efficient business plan within 10 pages if you just focus on the risks that are in each environment and how you plan on managing or mitigating those risks. So there's a few ways in which you can manage or mitigate risks. One is transferring them. This is what most people do. You have a risk with your car, you can transfer the risk to the insurance company. So if you have a big accident, they'll pay you out. If you've got the right insurance company, we all heard stories about these guys not paying out. The other way you can do it is you can accept the risk. You can say, well, there's a risk here, but it's not a big risk. I'm going to accept that risk. I will price it into my pricing, and I'll just make sure there's a provision for if that happens, I can cover it. There's an opportunity to exploit the risk. It may be that the risk you've identified is something that's a risk that everybody has, and it might be your next product or your next solution. Remember, a risk is a problem. And if you can solve problems, if you can see how you can solve problems, you can make money. And so exploiting risk is a great way to manage risk. And so there's various ways in which you do that. So what we try and do is we try and analyze each environment, and we've identified 11 risk environments, and in each one there's about 5 or 6 different risks that are common to most entrepreneurs. And then we go through a process of identifying and analyzing that risk and giving it a score out of 10. So you give it a point out of 5 for impact. In other words, how likely is it to cause real problems in your business and to be fatal to your company or to cost you money? So impact. If it's a 4 out of 5, it's quite serious. If it's a 5 out of 5, obviously it's very, very serious. And then likelihood. So there's two legs of risk. The likelihood of it arising. How possible is it that this risk is going to materialize? For instance, the global pandemic, it is a 5 on impact, right? The lockdowns, it's detrimental to so many businesses. But what was the likelihood? For many, many years, people didn't really deal with the likelihood of a pandemic arising because we haven't had a pandemic like this in 100 years. So what's the likelihood of it arising again? So the likelihood was quite low. So very few companies actually had a business continuity plan in the case of the pandemic because they saw it as a low risk. So it's those sort of things that you determine your risk appetite and you say, well, in the future, maybe something that is as fatal and detrimental as a black swan event like a pandemic or some global shutdown or lockdown is going to have a serious impact on the markets. It's going to have a serious impact on my business. I must have a business continuity plan. What do I do in that situation? And I did that in my law firm and in the companies that I operate. All the companies got through the pandemic. We're still operating. And a lot of our competitors have fallen away, which means that we're finding ourselves in the top spot now to get new business. So that's what this is about, really, is when you understand risk and you manage risk properly, you're future-proofing your business. So you don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if you can have contingencies in place and you can have a risk mindset, when you see things starting to materialize that could be bad for your company, you can already begin acting and reacting in a way that will save your business and make sure it gets to the next level. And that's really what this is about. Entrepreneurship, it's about perseverance. It's about that adaptability. But in the global scale, in the macroeconomic scale, entrepreneurs, SMEs are so important to our economy. We need more of us. We need more of us not only to survive, but to thrive. And so the idea behind having the mentality and the spirit to keep fighting, but also knowing that when you go into the fight, I'm not just going to get in the ring with Tyson Fury tomorrow. I'm not prepared for it. I'm not ready for it. He'll kill me. But if I train, if I practice, if I go to the right coaches, in other words, I'm preparing for that event. That's what risk management is all about. And anybody can do it. Just take some time, think about when you go through a business plan. There's a lot of business plans available. You can go to the IDC website, the DTI website. They give you great business plan templates for free. And as you go through that, just ask yourself, okay, what they're saying under this section is there's a particular risk. How would I manage that risk? What if I don't market? Or what if my marketing doesn't work? What if my strategy is to go on social media and on Facebook and talk to people? What if that doesn't work? What if people don't listen? What is my plan B? What is my plan C? I've heard so many people say, I've only got a plan A. It doesn't work like that in business. And that's also why companies are doing this roller coaster thing, because you've only got a plan A, then something changes that's beyond your control, and you're stuck with a plan A and no plan B. You have to have a plan A, a B, a C, a D, a E for every eventuality. So I'm not advocating that you spend all day, every day on risk management, but just make it part of your thinking, make it part of your ideology when you're thinking about how your business is going, the growth and development of your business. Bring that into your business and make sure that you have that mindset to be able to adapt to these obstacles that get thrown in our path every day. A lot of entrepreneurs always say to me as a commercial lawyer that they feel like all they're doing is fighting fires. Well, there's a way to stop that and to focus on your productivity and to be as efficient as possible. And that is by thinking ahead and future-proofing your business with effective risk management. I see in the Q&A one question. Tabelo, coming from an underprivileged background with great ambition and great ideas, we tend to just jump in and not even think about planning for managing our risk, only because as an upcoming entrepreneur, you don't have the capital to pay for this. So that's a great comment, Tabelo. And I just want to add to that is you don't have to strategize on this every day. You don't have to sit behind your computer and type risk management things furiously. But there are so many guides on our website, on novate.in. We actually have a white paper that just helps you understand these different risks. So if you can take that and just engage with it and think about it in terms of your own business and start imagining what could go wrong. And then once you've got a list of what could go wrong, then you can start thinking about how will I react? How will I manage that? How will I deal with that? And it's so powerful because, as I said, there's so many companies that I've been advising. I didn't lose one client during the pandemic, during the lockdowns. All my clients had a business continuity plan in place. They scaled down, they reallocated resources. They're continuing today. They're bringing back employees that they lost, that they had to short time at that point in time. And the business is going from strength to strength. And that's the power of risk management. They didn't close, the share didn't lose value. They were able to absorb the impact of the global pandemic and go from strength to strength from that. And that's just one example. Obviously, the pandemic is a one-off type of thing. We might not have another one for the next 50 years, or we might have one in 10 years' time. But every single day, there's little risks that materialize in your business, and you can manage it yourself. You can be aware of them, and you don't necessarily need a consultant. Just go make yourself aware of risk management, enterprise risk management, and begin to apply the principles in your own business. Isel, I'm concerned that I may have gone over my time. I see another question.
Sure. It's been great, but yeah, there's another question for you.
Okay, just a link to the white paper. Yeah, Isel, I'll type a link in on the comment section. It's just on our website, novate.in, but I'll share the link.
Yeah.
And then
is that the same link for them? Because I know you've got like a course where you can actually where you show them how to draft your own business plan. Is that the same one?
Yeah, we're launching a business plan development sort of program online. It's starting next week on the 1st of February. Applications are open right now. So yeah, it's at the same website.
Okay, perfect. So you'll just drop that link, and then they can also then see where to access that from if they want to join that course that you'll be hosting.
Yeah, as I said, well, I explained to the Patriotic Alliance members, because I do the Wednesday lives, and I explained that even if you're not a startup, even if you've been in business for 2 or 3 years and you got some traction, it's a good idea to just do this business plan session, because it's your annual strategy. All the big corporates are spending time now in January and February going into the financial year end, looking at their next 12 months financial annual strategy. And that's essentially this business plan. It's just refocusing on what you're going to do and how you're going to implement that over the next 12 months. So you're welcome to join, even if you're not a startup, even if you already have traction. You might just get some tips and information that I've learned from working with some really big companies and really top-notch founders over the years, that I'm going to be sharing with people on that program. And it's for free. So just want to add that as well. There's no cost in that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Eugene, and your expertise. It's really so informative. And like I said, for me, it was also an eye-opener, because honestly, I didn't even have any risk planning on my business plan. So it was really an eye-opener for me in that sense. But thanks for your time. I would love to join that course. Just drop that information through to us. And yes, thank you again. And how can people get in contact with you? Social media, contact details?
Yeah, I think contact details will be on that website as well. I'm on Facebook, it's just Eugene Berta. You'll see all the PA logos all over my photo.
Okay, awesome.
And yeah, so that's probably the best places to get a hold of me. I'll also just put my email address in the Q&A section there.
Thank you so much, Eugene. Much appreciated. Okay,
yeah,
thank you. All right, so our next speaker is Dr. Maxwell Holland. Dr. Max, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome. So Dr. Maxwell Holland is a visionary leader, a life coach, mentor, philanthropist, business executive, and founder of the For Change Foundation. Dr. Maxwell Holland is known for his passionate commitment and tenacity in fulfilling the will of God for the next generation. He's the senior pastor of Kingdom Life Embassy, and he's married to the beautiful Pastor Zena Holland, the co-pastor of Kingdom Life Embassy for, I think it's 35 plus years already, Dr. Max, and they have 2 beautiful children. Dr. Holland has an unwavering passion for sustainable mindset transformation and has the vision to see the communities of our nation and beyond changed. It is this very passion and his unrelenting will to define the third world countries that has led him to the birthing of the dynamic For Change Foundation, which to date has impacted over 300,000 youth over the past 11 years. It is such an honor to have you with us today, Dr. Max. I know it's going to be great, and we're looking forward to whatever knowledge you're going to impart into us this evening.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Azal. I think you're doing a tremendous work. I think, as Eugene said, it's such an excellent setup, the way you've laid it out. I think it's just amazing. And of course, his wealth of knowledge is just, I'm sitting here, I'm taking notes, and I'm thinking, I'm going to speak next. So I got to build some relationship with him as well. So informative, absolutely a blessing to be with you, and to all the great thought leaders around the table. I think you've done an excellent job to do that. And so my role was supposed to speak about some mentorship and some of the things I'm doing, and to do with a bit of leadership and the like, because when you're embarking on a journey, especially leadership or whatever vision is in your heart, whatever you need to be doing, you're going to have to be a little bit more than thick-skinned. I think there's so much wealth that has come out of, risk management and persistence and all sorts of things. But there's something inside of you as a leader that leads you out of a normal job, or just having to receive a salary, into a place of when I need to go and create something or become and earn on a different level. And so what you're going to have to understand at this point, when you embark on that journey, no one's going to wake you up anymore. No one's going to go and come and tell you, phone you up, where are you now, and the like. If you don't get up from that bed, if you don't get moving early in the morning, if you don't put out the late hours, your business suffers. And so the reality is that you are now a leader. And this leadership space that you've entered into means a whole bunch of things for you. You've entered into a new world. And the number one thing to understand about leadership is that leadership is born when vision is captured. And that's really important to understand, because every leader, when you look at them and whatever they're doing, there is a vision that they're holding on to. And so leadership without vision is simply management of goals. And I've had some tremendous mentors, and I still do have in my life. And if you understand a mentor is a little different to a coach, because a coach, a mom can assign, or dad can assign you a coach to teach you a particular lesson, to perfect your tennis game or something like that, and they get paid to coach you on reaching a certain skill and perfecting certain things. But a mentor is a little different. A mentor is really somebody that looks at your life holistically. A coach and the one that is being coached, the coach, you would say, would meet at the tennis courts at a certain time and get paid for it. And then at the end of the day, when the person is doing a little better in the tennis, the coach gets applauded for what they do. But a mentor, though, is a little different. A mentor, if you have to put on anything, mentorship is learning through the pain of someone else. And that's important to understand, because it is what I've been through. It is what I've experienced. It's what all the knowledge I've gained. I can become a mentor for others. So here's the key thing the difference between a coach and a mentor is that, number one, is that the coach will meet you on the tennis court. A mentor won't. You've got to, as the mentee, you're going to have to pursue the mentor. You're going to have to go after what you want. So there's something on the inside that is the leader that pushes into that space to make sure that you get what you need for where you are going to. And it's honest that it has got to be a person who's laid back, that just wants a 9-to-5 job. This space is not going to work for you, because your world changes. And it means that there's kind of a pursuit that's going to be on the inside of you for the mentors that have been to a certain place, and a place you want to enter into, and you want to go and learn from them. So you're going to pursue that relationship. And that becomes really important. So I've had one of my mentors very early in my journey, on this journey of entrepreneurship and leadership, is Dr. Miles Monroe. And so there's a couple of things that he taught from the beginning, is that before I step into anything that I do, the number one thing with him was purpose. And so the vision of this leader that gets birthed inside of him comes from a place of where he's discovered the purpose for his life. And it is important that we're pushing for new ideas, because you need to become self-sustaining. Jobs have been cut and all that goes with that. But there's something else that's going to happen, that happens on the inside of this leader. And it is more than just searching for money. It's got to do with the fact that I'm here to solve a problem. And this is where purpose unpacks, because purpose is when you're starting off as a leader. I'm just throwing out some things here to understand that vision never comes first. And the vision never comes first. What comes beneath vision first is purpose. And then beneath purpose comes convictions. So convictions becomes the foundation of why you are doing what you are doing in the earth as an entrepreneur. It's going to lead you into places where money will come. It'll lead you into places you cannot be chasing money. Money becomes like soap on wet hands. I mean, as much as you're trying to grab a hold of it, it slips through your fingers. What you're gonna have to go after is your convictions, the purpose for why you were born. And this is when leadership is born. When you've captured that and you've captured the vision, you begin to understand this is the reason for my existence. I was supposed to make a difference somewhere in the world. And when you begin to understand that, you have now entered into a place of leadership. And a leader, the reason why you need to understand convictions in your life before vision and before purpose is because you are going to go through many, many challenges to accomplish what you need to accomplish. People will leave you. People will say no to you. There are many things that will happen in your life. But the thing that's going to keep you is, number one, is your convictions. The conviction of why you are doing what you are doing. There's a conviction even in Azel's heart of why she needs to get onto the platforms and actually go onto the level and put her face out and put out her skill and even the reason for existence, because there's some girl that comes from a place that she comes from that would also see what she's doing, and then it will inject inside of her a belief system. So vision doesn't come first, vision comes last, because a vision is written down because of your convictions, Let's just take Nelson Mandela as an example. Nelson Mandela is not known for his acts of kindness, but he lived a life of convictions. And so your convictions must drive you, because I found on this journey, many people came that, were great friends at one time, and then they left, and they always were trying to drive the vision differently, or even to a place of where you become discouraged and you want to walk away from what you need to be doing, because the banks will say no, and that person promised help and it never came through. But when you have stepped into a place of convictions lets you know that I'm going to stay here until I get the results I'm looking for. And what that conviction does inside of you, it drives you to certain mentors and people that have been down the road, and that you will pursue them, and you'll go and read their books, and you'll go and listen to their podcasts, and you begin to understand what they've been through and the kind of fight they've been in, so that you can actually then develop a kind of belief system on the inside of you that if they could do it, I can do it too. And so when you come alongside great mentors, like, I've really been graced with some tremendous mentors in my life, is they begin to believe in you. A mentor, the thing that for me that is our number one goal in the 318 leadership engine is number one, you need to develop inside of you a belief system. A belief system that says, number one, there is a problem in the earth. COVID is here. That's great. Number two is that I have a solution. Somewhere inside of you, there's potential inside of you that must come forth, that can solve a problem in the earth, and you will get paid well for the problem that you solve. And so the fourth vital components of a compelling vision. Number one, here's the problem. Number two, here is the solution. The solution's in you. Number three, the reason why something must be done. And number four, the reason why something must be done now. That becomes the conviction on the inside of you. So effective vision casting communicates your vision as a solution to a problem that must be addressed immediately. Can you see the number of problems that we have in the earth? And if you look at the problems, you will understand that every problem that you solve comes with money. If I just have to take a biblical example, King David, when he came onto the battlefield and he was dealing with Goliath, he asked, if I take off this giant's head, What will I get paid for it? So there's times when you're starting off and you're developing as a leader, and your confidence around your product or whatever you're doing, you can give a lot of your stuff away for free. But there comes a time that as you're serving your gift and you're solving problems, you then come into a place of where you can actually command the kind of resource or the kind of monies that you want for the services that you provide. But there's got to come, it starts off with a real conviction on the inside of you that whatever's happening in this world right now, I can go studying, I'm not going to develop my gift, I'm going to meet with new people, I am going to go and do whatever it takes, but I'm going to become part of the solution in this earth. And so part of our organization and on the staff and everybody that's around me in our vision and people that are working on my platforms and developing trainers and the like, here's our motto in our organization. And if we had to apply this in our nation, we would solve a whole bunch of problems. Here's the motto. We do not pay people for what they do. And if you can take this away for you as a leader, you never pay people for what they do. Pay them for what they solve. And if you're not solving a problem in my organization, you are the problem. And so we remove anybody that's looking for a salary because an entrepreneur is looking to solve problems and then getting paid for it. So you're developing on the inside of you a whole kind of culture in your organization that puts everybody on the front foot and not people just coming into your company to look for money. You're fighting all kinds of battles. And the number one thing that you need to know that everybody on your staff and everybody that's in your environment, number one is they're motivated to get the same results. So you've documented the vision. The visions come because you have a purpose for your life and you understand what that purpose is. And of course, the third thing is that the fact, if nobody else goes, I'm going by myself because I'm living out my convictions. And that's the birthing of a leader. Because it's not contingent on the whether they would let me out of prison after 27 years, whether Nelson Mandela or not, or whether he says I will stay here until we solve this problem, until we understand that the world know that I as the leader would needs to solve this problem in the earth, and he is your leader. And birthed out of that was a new South Africa because of what this man has done. And so we just wish there was a whole bunch of things that came with Nelson Mandela, like raising other leaders that lived with the same convictions. Our nation's in trouble because we don't have the kind of leaders in our nation and around us that are living out their convictions. Because once you get into a place of convictions, you don't get into a place of compromise. I'm carrying a vision, I'm solving a problem in the earth. And if others are calling for bribes or all kinds of temptation that comes with it, I don't do that because number one, I just don't have a vision. I have a value system because I have convictions in my heart. And these came from mentors that I pursued and people like, even Dr. Winston that I serve on his board and you watch that after, 45 years of being in ministry and the things that they're doing. And, part of his vision is he trains up entrepreneurs and there's a Joseph Business School and there's the kind of things that he does. There were times when they just sowed into Africa and did a whole bunch of things, but there was no return. It looked like nothing was happening because when you get into understanding the power of vision, you must understand the richest man who ever lived wrote this thing. He said in Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, he says, to everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. So when an entrepreneur is looking for things, it only comes in its season. There is a season when things begin to unfold for you. It's like a woman that is, you don't see, she's pregnant, but you don't see the baby. For 9 months, you won't see that baby. It's a season when you will see the baby and they will see the fullness of your vision. But there is a time for the purpose to develop on the inside of you. And in time, listen to what I'm saying, nothing supernatural happens. Because in time, you're sowing your time, you're serving your gift. That's all that happens. You're going to meet new relationships. You are putting your business plan together. You are connecting with new people. You're adding more skills. And it seems like nothing is happening for you. But I want to encourage you today that if you hold on to your belief system, that there's a time when you shift out of time and you come into a season, and all of a sudden all kinds of things begin to unfold for you. As an example, we were in our home here for many, many years. Before change started in here, we had so many youth in here, all our leaders developing our things, and our home was used for so many things, meetings late at night and the like, because we never had money for the things even. So there's a sacrifice and a life of constraint that when you're in time, everything about your vision and your gift is developing. You don't know who you really are. You're pursuing people. You're perfecting what's on the inside of you. And then comes a season. We're on this campus. We've got budgets. Somebody came to give us a budget and tell us that our buildings will cost 50 million rand. It's not the number anymore. We're running with a vision. It's a vision that's on the inside of us. And when you understand the power of vision, provision always follows vision. The pro is for the vision. But we never got there. It's 17 years later. We're putting up a structure now of training and developing. And we've been on that land now for 8 years. And all we've been doing over the time, in time, you sow and you serve, you develop your gift, you find out, the risk management, you discover business plans, you meet with new relationships, you connect to these people, you find where the risks are going to be. And then there comes a day when you must take those risks. It's now when you enter into a season. And all of a sudden, when people come to you, they come to us now and they discover that, we don't just want to do something and, we've got no track record. We've got a track record of almost 15, 16 years around the For Change and our transformation and our systems. We perfected it all the way. I think my time is up. But I just wanted to encourage somebody that there is, if you understand the triangle says, when I am in time, I am discovering purpose. And in time, it seems like it's tedious because it seems like a lot of hard work. And the reason why many people don't get into a season where the blessing flows is because they've wasted their time when they should have gone studying, developing, building new relationships, adding new skills, presentation skills, and all that goes with it. And so that you can go into a season where the vision begins to manifest and the leader inside of you begins to command the spaces and be able to do what you were born to do. And my prayer for you is that you would have the patience in time. Don't ask for 100,000 rand when you're in time. Go and wait for your season when things will begin to unfold for you, that you can command the resources and the finances and the kind of relationships and make the change and the kind of impact in the nation the way you should do with your business, with your gifting, with your convictions, with your purpose, and of course, fulfilling your purpose in the earth. And so I don't know if that is enough. Got so much to share.
I know, Pastor, you could go on forever because you've always got so much to say. I think you always say you ran out of time, not word, because there's always so much word to go with it. But that was amazing. It was so good. And I just want to ask you quickly, Apostle, I know with the 318 leadership engine, if there's any external people that maybe would like to form part of that, could they, and how can they maybe plug into that? Maybe just quickly touch on that before you finish off.
Thank you. So we've got the 318 leadership engine. You can go in there, 318leadershipengine.com. We are launching a new platform. We just finished the studios. We're about a week away from finishing it. So we bring all the training in there. What we had to do was we had to change the way we're training entrepreneurs or leaders because there's just a culture of leadership that had to go first. One of my favorite movies my favorite movie is The Matrix. And it deals with the mindset of this man as this computer analyst who could not believe that he was called to do this. And so part of the training and this online platform is teaching you, watching the movie, and we're going to teach you how to deconstruct your life, break down the walls, help you reconstruct your life as a leader. And it's going to be a 12-week course, and it's for anybody who have it online. So we're going to be posting that soon. We'll keep you, updated. If you can just get on there. We'll be launching all of that soon and making sure that everybody can begin to develop the understanding and the belief system of a leader and what you're going to need for the journey moving forward. And then we're going to add the other stuff around, team building. We do strategy sessions for other organizations and we help them develop strategies and the like. And so, that'll be available for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Max. I don't see any questions here. But if there is anything, I will definitely share it with you. And thank you so much for your time. I know you have to run off now. You've got other commitments, but I really do appreciate your time and availing your expertise with us this evening.
Excellent work, Azelle, and to all the other speakers, thank you so much. We are listening to you though. I'm off, but I'm listening to you, okay?
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome.
Blessings, thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Dr. Max. So is everybody still good? It sometimes feels so weird having a webinar versus a Zoom session or a live session because you don't necessarily see the people's faces or the responses, but I'm trusting everyone is good and you're learning from this. Our next speaker is Natasha. Natasha is let me just read, I need to actually pull up her proper bio so I don't cut out anything. Natasha Alexander is the founder and director of LELAC's Professional Accountant. She completed a BCom Chartered Accounting undergraduate degree at Northwest University and a BCom Chartered Accounting honors degree at UNISA. In 2008, she started her Psycha articles at KPMG, which was completed in April 2011. She has worked in various financial roles in different industries, but pursued her dream in 2018 when she focused full-time on an accounting practice, LELAC's Professional Accountants. She believes that every business, no matter how small, should have access to affordable, high-quality accounting and tax services, and is passionate about assisting young entrepreneurs and small business owners in making a success of their business and dreams of eventual economic freedom for all. With over 10 years experience in accounting and tax, she has been assisting small to medium enterprises in achieving this. She's a registered business accountant in practice, an independent reviewer, and a tax practitioner through her affiliation with the South African Institute of Business Accountants. It is such an honor to have you with us this evening, and I'm so proud of Natasha. Natasha and I used to go to the same school growing up. She was a year older than what I am, but nevertheless, it's just such an inspiration, and she's been such an amazing part of my entrepreneurial journey, just my go-to whenever I have questions around tax and just operational requirements. So it's such an honor to have you this evening, Natasha, and we are looking forward to learning from you. I know you've got such a wealth of knowledge, and I'll take it over to you there now.
Thank you, Azelle, and thank you for the opportunity that you've provided us to share our knowledge. I'm just going to pull up a PowerPoint presentation that I have prepared. Okay. So as Azelle said, I'm Natasha Alexander. I'm the owner of LELAC's Professional Accountants. Tonight, I'm going to walk you through the basic steps of registering a business and ensuring its compliance. There are different types of entities that can be used to start up your business, namely a sole proprietor. This is the simplest form for a small business and is basically an individual trading in their own name. Or you could purchase a shelf company. This is an entity that is already registered with the CIPC and with SARS. And finally, you can register a new private company. I will be focusing on a private company as it is the most popular form of starting up a small business. The steps for registering a company is simple, and you are able to do it yourself. The first step is to register an account on BizPortal. Then get your company name approved. Once your company name has been approved, submit your company and personal information, and then finally pay the cost of the company registration. In my opinion, this is the easiest part of starting up your business. What comes next is more challenging. Now that you have a registered company, the first thing that I would advise you to do is to open up a business bank account. This is important because it's very important that you separate your personal and your business income and expenses from the beginning. A bank account is also required for most other registrations, that the company will need to do. Once your bank account has been opened, the next step is to register your company on e-filing. in order to obtain your company's tax compliance PIN. It is also advisable that you register your company on the Central Supplier Database. The CSD is a database used by government and other institutions to verify and check your company information, tax compliance, and BEE. Now the all-important revenue service. When you register your company, you will receive an income tax number for your company, as the company is automatically registered with SARS. Then there's VAT. It is compulsory to register for VAT once your company's turnover exceeds 1 million rand for any 12-month period. If, however, you deem it beneficial for your company to be VAT registered, you may choose to register your company for VAT if your turnover exceeds 50,000 rand for any 12-month period. If you have employees, you need to do the following registrations. If your employees earn above the tax threshold, the company needs to register for pay-as-you-earn. Any employer working more than 24 hours in a month needs to be registered for UIF with the Department of Labor. UIF is calculated at 2% of employee remuneration. 1% of this is paid by the employer and the other 1% is paid by the employee. Another compulsory registration relating to your employees is with the compensation for occupational injuries and diseases. This allows your employees to claim for injuries on duty. The contribution that is paid to the compensation fund is based on employee earnings. As a startup, you are exempt from BEE requirements. All you need to do to verify your BEE status is to obtain an EME affidavit that has been signed by a Commissioner of Oaths. So in order for your business to remain compliant, you need to get a few things done throughout the financial year. It is advisable that you get an accountant to assist you with this. It is, however, important that you know and understand what needs to get done, because as a business owner, it is ultimately responsibility to ensure that your business remains compliant. The first thing that is required is that you have to submit your annual CIPC return and pay an annual fee for the CIPC, maintaining your company registration. When it comes to SARS, you are required to submit provisional tax biannually, and then you're also required to submit an income tax return annually. If you are registered for VAT, you need to submit your VAT returns every 2 months. For your employees, pay-as-you-earn returns and UIF declarations need to be submitted monthly, and you need to provide your employees with an IRP5. The return of earnings for the compensation fund needs to be submitted annually. And the last thing you need to do is prepare your annual financial statements. So this was a very brief overview of what you need to do to register a business and ensure that you are compliant. There's a lot more to it, and I do think that, you know, if I have to go in detail, we will be here all night. I don't know if I can share the slides. If Zal will let me know, but my email address is on the slides. You can email me if you would like a copy of the slides. And then Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you quickly, Natasha. I see there is a question here in the Q&A. Someone, let me just see, Andisile asking for you to please share the slides. If you can send it to me now, quickly, even via WhatsApp, or maybe I'll find a way to quickly update it on here. Alternatively, they can just email you.
Okay.
Okay, or you can email it to me and I'll copy it onto the link this evening for anyone needing it tonight still.
Yes. I will
Okay,
do.
do we have any other questions for Natasha? Okay, doesn't look like it. But thank you so much, Natasha. I know that there's a lot more, and I did ask you to keep it to the basics because it is ultimately a startup webinar and we're focusing on the startup journey. So just quickly, for anyone needing your assistance, just briefly run through what your company offers. So if they maybe want to get in touch with you for their business, their startup, if they need help with registering their business, tax compliance, all that you offer, just quickly run through what you can assist them with and how they can get hold of you, other than your email address.
Okay, so Lily's Professional Accountants basically offers everything from start to finish. So if you require help registering a business, we can assist you. If you require monthly bookkeeping, we can assist you. If you require financial statements, tax submissions for companies and individuals. Yeah, and then also all these other returns, your pay as you earn, your UIF declarations, your wage declarations. Yeah, so we take care of everything.
Thank you so much.
The easiest way for people to maybe get my contact information is either on my website, which is www.lilex.co.za, or on my Facebook page, which is Lilex Professional Accountants, or Instagram, same handle.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Natasha. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure there will be more questions coming in for you personally, because that's something that everybody needs at some point in the long. It's not like it's a maybe, it's a must. But thanks again, Natasha. Appreciate your time. Next up, we have Nicole. I asked this afternoon how to pronounce her surname. I'm going to try and just cut it short. Nechi. She'll correct me if I'm wrong. Zimbabwean born and South African based. She's an experienced digital creative and social media innovator who saw the gap within the creative space regarding creativity, content, technology, and sales, and founded the company Ison Creative Brand Specialist on wanting to marry the four components. Her marketing know-how combined with the latest sales automation tools assists clients to convert opportunities into sales. Typically known to sell ice to an Eskimo, with proven track record of sales and success of conversion and combination of social media, she's ruthless when it comes to the game of sales, digital marketing, and social media, and ensuring a business is customer-centric. Amongst other things, she's also the founder of Conversations with Nikki, which is aimed at inspiring and empowering and calling out the dream within individuals through workshops, a podcast, and Insta post that touch on topics such as love, marriage, parenting, and being a millennial wife or husband, a single millennial, and the youth. Her passion is to see one live out their full potential and believe there is no limit to what one can achieve. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, Nicole. I think it's such a vital topic as well, because we're living in a digital age, and to get your business and your brand out in the digital space is no longer an option, it's a must. So I'm really excited to hear all that you've got from your creative side, and thank you for your time, and it's over to you, Nicole.
Thank you, Zal, so much for actually having this platform. And I think having heard the previous speakers, it's such a knowledgeable platform. I wish in my era, I could have had something as accessible to this in terms of starting a business. So this is quite a great platform and a blessing to all who are starting their businesses. So I will be doing a presentation. Let me just quickly share my screen. So while I'm looking to share my screen, so my surname is Nechivungululu. That's the full surname. So you did give it a shot. Well done. And here we go. Just let me know if my screen is showing. Is it showing?
Yes, it is.
Okay, awesome. So we are talking about digital marketing and sales. My name is Nicole, better known as Nikki, spelled N-I-C-C-I, pronounced N-I-C-K-Y. And I think we are so blessed to be in this era of digital marketing because we do not live in the traditional way of having to advertise and market ourselves and think marketing budget, because as a startup, the first thing you think is, do I have the budget for marketing? But in this digital era that we're living in, budget is not an issue, but I'll walk us through the whole process. So we all have a digital footprint, and that in this day and age, paper is no longer a thing. It's now all digital. If you go Google a name, you will find a name. If you've done online shopping, you'll find your details are online. If you have done online banking, you'll find that you have a digital footprint. So the aspect in the world that we live in today is digitally, we are all online. Even if you think you've gone dark mode, the mere fact that you use internet banking, digitally, you are online. So that just goes to show how important digital is and how important and a key factor it is and how it plays in this day and age. So with that, digital is obviously the new currency. I mean, we are now going into cryptocurrency, which has now taken a new craze. And there's also Meta that has now come in with the digital world, a digital way of shopping and doing things. So digitally, we are in this new era of we no longer are interacting physically, but more so digitally. And I think in the past 2 years with the pandemic, that was a wake-up call to a lot of businesses to understand that we need to actually put ourselves digitally, because there was no longer the comfort of walking into a service shop or something and physically meeting up with the person. But with COVID, we were all forced to actually turn our services or our businesses onto a digital platform, because then that's where we did online shopping grew. And in general, the population, 60% of the population is using digital, and 20%, it grew by 20% in the past 2 years. And so I'll quickly touch on just 6 reasons of the importance of digital marketing, especially for a small business. There are many, but these 6 are like high key areas for me. So with digital marketing, especially for a small business, I spoke about the ching, the moolah. So the first thing is you've started your business, you are not thinking budget, you're not thinking I have enough money to do marketing. But with the beauty of digital marketing now, we have it makes it cost effective. You do not need to pay to advertise your business on social media. You simply put up your business up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and it's simply putting your business online. Obviously, there is some money that you can invest in, but you can even invest as little as 50 Rand to start marketing your business on Facebook or on Instagram. And that's the beauty of digital marketing, because it's not like how it was back in the era where if you wanted to put your advert on print newspaper, in my era, just to put an advert, a small ad, on the front page of a newspaper, you would look at about 30 to 40,000 Rand just to advertise your business. And obviously you'd want to be in the front page. But thankfully with digital marketing, there's nothing like now I have to pay subscription costs because I'm subscribed to Facebook, I'm subscribed to Instagram. You simply put your business information on Facebook, Instagram, and should you want to market, you could even start as little as 20 Rand on Facebook, for example, to market your business. And for a small business, that is something that I think is so key. And obviously, as you grow, your budget will eventually grow. And the other advantage is high reach. So back then in the eras, we couldn't reach as many people. So if I was to advertise in a local newspaper, it would only reach Gauteng. However, now with digital marketing, you're able to reach people overseas. You're able to reach people even in the next province. So you're not limited to having a business that is just local. So should you offer services, or you're offering a product, your product can actually be an international product because of the high reach social media and digital marketing has, because I'm able to market across the board. Someone in America can happen to see your product if you're selling a product or earrings or something like that, and they're able to inquire and so forth. So that is the beauty with the high reach. Thirdly, it's brand awareness. That's how we get to know who you are, what you're about, and everything. So I no longer have to think website. Website is a good idea. However, as a startup business, obviously the investment into a website at that moment, I would say, start off socially. I mean, you could literally write up, like I said, with Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. You generally can write up a profile on your business, and someone can get to know your business through these different mediums as to how it was prior, where you would be limited to only a certain portion of how you market your business, and the brand awareness of your business would be like, sorry, who's that company? I don't know it, unless someone would have advertised your business by word of mouth. And the fourth point is more targeted audience reach. So like I said, it goes back to the high reach. I am able to target my audience. So if I had an advert back in the era of putting an advert on television, I didn't choose my audience, whoever was watching the TV at that moment in time. Even if my services were not for them, it was pointless at that point, because I say I was advertising Jordans, and there's an 80-year-old granny who's sitting in front of, unless the 80-year-old granny is a hip granny, but say there's an 80-year-old granny sitting in front of the television, it would mean my product at that moment is irrelevant to her. So the beauty of digital marketing, you're able to target your audience based on what you want. So you can target the age group, you can target the race, you can target the LSM, so different ways of how you want. So if your product is targeted at children, you would then know, okay, I'm going to target children as well as the parents, because the parents are the ones who buy. Or if you're generally wanting to target, say you have a service in terms of cleaning, so you're able to target your audience based on the different target markets and your LSMs and so forth. Fifthly, you've got your lead generation. So obviously you would need to have clients and so forth. But if you don't have digital, it would be difficult to attract the right people. But digitally, you're able to attract people, and you're able to run your ad for a certain amount of time, because you've targeted your audience. You've targeted your audience. There is brand awareness, and I'm able to create a lead generation system, meaning if I put a call to action on my advert to say, call us now, or fill in this information. I'm sure a lot of you have filled in a lot of information online. As a business, you are then able to create a database of people. So that's the beauty of digital marketing with the lead generation. I don't have to give you a pen and paper and ask you to fill in this information. Like when you're signing a contract for MTN or Vodacom, they usually have online forms. And in that aspect, they're actually gathering data and lead generation, because they're able to remarket back to you because of the data they have from you. But prior to that, it was never possible, because I would have to either wait for you to walk into my shop, or I get people to sign documents, which was hectic. And last but not least, there's customer engagement and retention. So now you're able to actually engage with your customers. So if a customer comments on a page, you're able to quickly engage, and you're able to quickly solve a situation and make the good of it. I'm sure most of you have seen how there's been bad advertising, but how the client is able to come back and redeem themselves because of the interaction and the engagement, and you're able to retain a client. So if a client was not happy with the service, for example, with the Clicks and the shampoo advert, they were not happy, but Clicks was able to respond quickly and engage with their client and be able to retain the number of people that would stay. So that's the same thing, and the beauty of digital marketing. So my last point would be how to close a lead or a sale. So, okay, you've got your attention, you've got people talking about you and asking, who are you? You do this as a business, you do this and so forth, but now how do you actually capture them? Because yes, they've seen it. That's the marketing side of things. You've advertised it, you've put it out there, you've marketed who you are. But then there's the whole aspect of, now I need to retain you, I need to close you so I can get repeat business and so forth. So this is where the sales aspect comes into play. So relationships are the currency of life. No matter where you're at, relationships play a key role. it be at church, it be at friendship-wise, or with the boyfriend and girlfriend and marriage. Relationships are the currency of life. We all know the famous saying, no man is an island, but relationships are so key, especially when it comes to sales. So I've got tips on how to close your sale or your lead. So obviously there's the whole point of accurately qualifying your prospect. So a person has shown interest, but you need to make sure and sift and see, is this person the actual client for my business? You ask obviously how big is their company, which industry are they in? Are they a deal customer or not? So you qualify the lead, which would then obviously come through either on how you market your product or service, or when you then eventually call your client, you're able to qualify and ask, how can I assist you? And you hear if this person is the actual person. If not, the beauty of digital marketing, you're able to sift out the people who are actually not for your service or business. And obviously when you then pick up the phone, it's even a better way of now understanding and qualifying your prospect, because you would hate to spend a whole call on someone who actually doesn't need your business or service. Then you pitch your solution, not the product. So you cannot come in and say, this is what I sell. So if you're selling Doom, for example, Doom kills insects. The solution is it kills insects, especially with summer, how many flies come through. So they understand this is what your service and business is about, but what solve do you bring to my life? What solve will you bring to the person? So with Doom, the solve is you don't have to worry about flies in summer, because once you spray, the solution is the flies will die. And thirdly, you always create a sense of urgency. I'm sure you guys have caught on to the Black Friday sale, and you see how they say it's only on Black Friday will you get 50% of this. Or with food lovers, how they come with their 10 Rand Tuesday sale, and it's only on Tuesday that you're able to get a certain amount of products for 10 Rand. But the urgency is they have put a deadline to when you're possibly to get that. So even with a startup, you can say opening sale only valid for this time, because as human beings, we are drawn to a sense of urgency. We're drawn to the sense of, if I miss out on this product, I won't get it at another price. So there's always that aspect of playing that whole aspect. And fourthly, you overcome their objections. So a person will tell you, I don't have money, or I don't need that service. So always have answers to objections. So before you make a contact, or before you call your client, your prospective client or so forth, always have an objective, always have answers to say, okay, should they say I cannot afford, what can you offer? Would you offer a payment plan? Would you say you can pay it over 6 months or 4 months? So always have objectives, always put down the possible things a person can come and say, well, due to the pandemic, things have been quite tight, so it's not a priority right now. You can then say, but if it's an investment in your life, it's probably something you can work around. And then the last thing, which I always recommend to all businesses, is ask for the sale. Do not be embarrassed to ask for the sale, because I think so often we think, I've put this pitch out to my client, I've said, we do this cleaning service, or we do this as a business, and you get scared to then say, so would you like to purchase, or would you want to make a purchase, or would you want our services? So always ask for the sale, because that's how you perfecting how and when you ask the question, are you ready to buy? That's the most important, because you can give a whole pitch, you can answer the objections and everything, but if you don't come in and reel back your client and say, how much do you want to buy? Do you want to invest? This is how much it costs and everything. So you'll need to get comfortable with asking that. And yep, that is all I have. And do you guys have any questions? You're welcome. I'm not sure. I'm not seeing the questions on my side, but I will stop the presentation. But yeah, should you have any questions, do feel free to contact us. And we love helping startups. We love showing you how you can start from as little as 20 Rand to advertise yourself. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I have a few questions, but I'm just looking at the time. But I'm not going to ask them now, but it was so informative. How can people get in contact with you?
You can contact me you can go onto the website www.ison.co.za. Alternatively, you can search us on social media platforms as Ison Creative Brand Specialists on Facebook and on Instagram And you can just pop me an email at nicole@ison.co.za.
Okay, awesome. I'll maybe just in the chat, you can also just populate your information. So send it to me and I'll send it on to everybody else in case they want it. Thank you for your time, Nicole. That was very informative and it's such a needed insight, especially. I think there's a question. Someone just raised their hand. It was, we'll just have a look here. Okay, probably an error. Nevertheless, they probably just raised their hand in error. Wanted to say hi. There's someone there. Okay, no, good. Anyway, thanks, Natasha. Not Natasha. Nicole. Thank you, Nicole. It was an amazing session, much so informative. Any questions, I will direct you if there is anything that comes through. Next up, our last and final speaker is Teru Naidu. Teru, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still
Okay,
here.
perfect.
I'm listening.
Okay. Teru is the founder and director of Sunrise Technosystems and has been in the IT industry for the last 16 years, working with various industries, and is a special, and his specialities is in IT infrastructure, security, app development, and project portfolio management. Teru is also the founder of Sunrise Technosystems, as I mentioned, and he's got a wealth of experience in the IT industry, and it's such an honor to have him with us today. I specifically asked Teru to talk about the impact of technology on business and how to scale your business utilizing technology, because we are in the fourth industrial revolution, and the reality is technology becoming more and more part of who we are. I mean, so many businesses have closed down because of automation and companies using more automated processes versus using manual processes, which has affected jobs. And I wanted him to just chat a bit about how you could utilize that to your advantage rather than seeing it as a negative, but rather using it to scale your business and to grow using technology. So thank you for your time, Teru, and over to you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So hope you guys are still active and listening. So let me share my presentation. Sorry, why is it very slow? Yeah, I think I can share my screen. Okay. Yeah. Can you guys see my screen? Can someone confirm?
Yes, it's visible.
All right. All right. So I think if you guys, sorry, okay, it's in the presentation mode. So I'm not going to take much of your time. Probably I'll quickly take you guys through, what are the IT systems and tools that are required for startups and, SMMEs. So obviously there's a perception, right? I mean, IT systems or tools are expensive, right? But that's not the right answer in these days, because technology has evolved. There are a lot of solutions. There are a lot of companies, that are out there, providing solutions. Those are the days gone where you need to find, you need to spend quite amount of capital expenditure in terms of buying systems or buying solutions. So these days, you just need to use a solution like a platform as a service. You subscribe to the service and you just start consuming it, and you pay operational expenditure, and also it depends on the system that you want. And I would not recommend, you guys, sorry, I'm on the next slide. So I would not recommend as a startup or SMME go and roll out all the systems that are not required for you. So I have just listed few things, few systems or solutions that you need as a startup. Obviously website, it depends on people's perception, but if you want to project your brand, obviously you need a website, and obviously you just definitely need a better logo design and branding. And the second thing is that professional email. There are a lot of solutions out there. You can go and subscribe for very basic thing, so that you can provide email IDs, professional email IDs to your staff. And file storage and sharing, I think this is the key, when we all working from home. If you have a file storage and sharing option, people can start working on the files, like Word documents, Excel sheets, or PDF. They can start uploading it into a common storage area so that everyone can see what's happening in the business. Obviously, productivity tools like time tracker and live chat. I think it depends on your business. If you are like 1 or 2 people, you can work without file storage and sharing, or productivity tools like time tracker and live chat. So if you have minimum of 2 to 10 employees or 20 employees, definitely you need these tools, and these are the important tools. And obviously these are not expensive, because there are solutions out there. People became innovative. They host solutions for us. We just go and consume those services by paying basic subscription fees. And the second important thing is that social media presence. LinkedIn, I would recommend LinkedIn if you are dealing with business to business customers. That's where most of the business people are proactively looking for solutions, proactively looking for services. You must have LinkedIn presence if you are in the B2B space. And the next one is Facebook. Facebook, I think it works for B2B as well as it works for B2C, because when it comes to e-commerce, like you're selling something online, Facebook is the platform where you can create your page. You can also create your own store. You can learn by yourself. You don't need any support, and then you can start hosting the store, and probably you can sell the items. And Twitter and Instagram. So these things together definitely will work for B2B and B2C. But based on my experience, LinkedIn is pretty much for B2B, but it still works for B2C. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram are for B2C. However, it still works for B2B businesses. So once your business has grown, the question is, why do we need these systems, right? Why do we need these systems? We can run the business without having any systems. Why do we need these systems? As business grows, you don't know what is happening in each and every department. And definitely you need systems so that you can store the data, what happened last year, and what you're going to do next year. So to get the analytics information, right, business analytics, you need systems. So that's how you can grow your business. You can scale your business in a faster phase compared to having everything in capturing everything manually or storing it in files. So that's why the next system obviously that you want is customer relationship management tools. You need a CRM tool, and however, don't think that you're going to spend millions or whatever it is. So you can go and subscribe a service, and you can start using your CRM tool. And the next thing is payroll, account payments, and receivables, and project management tools. As I said, these are also available platform as services. I think some of the companies are still offering free service for few users, and obviously it depends on company to company. Up to 5 users, they have a plan. You can spend little money and start using these services. You don't need to host, you don't need to spend money for software or anything. You just spend a little bit of your operational expenditure month on month, right? And the next one is obviously help desk and customer service tools. If your business grows, right, you need a dedicated help desk or dedicated help desk solution, and obviously customer service tools. If your business is small, definitely you can run probably through email communication or probably through WhatsApp communication. Those are the free tools that are available, like WhatsApp. You can create WhatsApp group with your customers, or you can also provide them the WhatsApp number. They can start interacting with your sales team, with WhatsApp. So if your business is growing and there are quite a number of people that are in customer service and help desk, you kind of need these systems, right? And the last one is certain businesses need an operating system, right? There are certain process flows, there are certain workflows, based on the domain or based on the industry. So if your business is going to expand to multiple locations, that's where you need business operating systems, basically. And you also need enterprise resource planning. If you are going to scale your business like 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, that's where you need these systems. But the basic thing is, obviously website, like professional email. That's where you start. Based on the growth of business, you plan and you take it to the next level. So that's pretty much in a nutshell, for the tools that are required for startup. But we are happy to help. You can send us email, we can guide you, what are the best tools that are available in the market. We can guide you, go and subscribe this tool, you're going to get these functionalities. Yeah, we are happy to help from our side. That's it from my side. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Teru, and that's perfect timing because it's 8:30 and I was aiming for us to finish at
Yeah.
8:30. So thank you for your time and for your expertise. I know that you guys do a lot of software development, you build a lot of applications, you build apps, you build chatbots, augmented reality, virtual reality. They do quite a lot of interesting technology. Just a sales pitch there for my side for Sunrise. But they can assist you, as you mentioned, if you maybe need assistance with free applications that you can use, like CRM systems. I know there are some CRM systems that are free, that you could, obviously there's limited functionality, but for beginning, and if you don't necessarily have the budget to invest as yet, but you need some tools, feel free to contact them just for advice on what free applications or cost-effective applications are available for you in terms of IT and just managing your processes and your process flowing and so forth. I think that's it for this evening. You guys have heard a lot. It's a lot of information. I will share the presentations via email of everyone that was part of the session, and in the chat box, in the chat section, you'll see that all the details of the speakers will be there. So if you can just copy it from there, if you want to email any of them, get their contact details, more information. But I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening, taking your time, your family time, your free time, just to invest in your future, because ultimately this is for us to just build you up and encourage you to start your journey where you are, no matter how limited your resources may be. The best thing to do is just to start. Sometimes we're waiting for the big things, but we can start small with what we have and scale from there, because everybody has to start somewhere. And I hope this helped you. I hope this inspired you. I hope this information was useful. The session was recorded, and I will be posting it on my YouTube channel, Powered Up Talk with Izal, if you want to go back and just revisit some of the information or share it on with others who could not make the session. But for myself, thank you again for everyone for being part of the session. Thank you for all the speakers for availing your time. And if you have any questions, you may freely email me. My email address was also in the register. You can respond on the email when you registered the session. My email address is there. But thanks again for your time, everyone. Have a blessed evening further. Good night.